After an election where the mainstream media seem more concerned about the idea of socialism than the issues confronting New Yorkers, Democratic Socialist candidate Zohran Mamdani had a decisive victory and will be the next mayor of New York. We spent the day traveling throughout Manhattan during this record turnout, talking to voters who said this election is about one thing: change. Stephen, this has been such an exciting race. Right. What are some of your takeaways from today?
Well, I think what it is a big miss for the mainstream media. And the reason I say it is because they were making this sort of a nationalized race that it was about socialism, and somehow Mamdani was going to be some big eyesore for the Democratic Party. But what we saw here was an enthusiasm for change that was much more important than any sort of isms that could be applied to it.
Feeling excited about New York City, having some new ideas, standing up to Donald Trump.
Now, is there a particular candidate you feel represents new ideas?
Very excited about Mamdani.
We need change, lots of change in New York City, and I was really anxious to get new blood, to vote for new blood, and that's what I did.
I have a feeling there's a candidate that might represent that new blood.
Mamdani.
I feel like this has been so poorly reported out, in the sense that while mainstream media and people in D.C. were like kind of going over what Trump had thought about Mamdani, or anybody besides Mamdani, or the people in New York thought about him, they completely missed the story. You know, they try to ask Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer or Democratic leaders, but nobody asked New Yorkers. And as we went around New York today talking to New Yorkers, there was pure enthusiasm for him as a person and as an agent of change.
I'm looking for Zohran. I think it's wonderful.
And may I ask, what are some of the policies or ideas that make him your candidate?
He's not afraid to use the S word. He's new and free, and we don't actually have any other choices.
You know, it's really interesting that you said the S word, because I've watched a lot of mainstream media, and it seems like there's a lot of hype about the S word, the socialism word, but the people I've spoken to in New York don't seem to be afraid of it. What do you think of how mainstream media has been covering Zohran?
I think it's sad that that word has been misused and misunderstood. The country can use a little bit of socialism mixed with capitalism for the bottom of the community, we need to take care of everyone.
Not so much like about socialism, but just the idea that there was going to be some relief to some of the things that they're dealing with.
Absolutely. We spoke to New Yorkers from age 19 to 90, practically. And I can tell you one thing that was consistent. They were tired of the old guard. They were ready to gamble on something new. Why don't we take a listen to some of them?
Affordability matters to me the most, and that's why I'm going to vote for Mamdani.
My name's Abdullah Kaya. I'm voting for him to make a better city and make it more comfortable and for everybody. So the New York City is expensive from like top to bottom.
The early one, it was like Como, but then Mamdani started speaking something, different. And I'm like, maybe give him a chance because we had Como.
So, Stephen, you can hear from these New Yorkers, most of them are saying the same things. They're concerned about affordable housing. They're concerned about the cost of groceries. They're concerned about public safety. And they're willing to take a chance on Mamdani.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was just extraordinary to hear people actually talk. It was like, was I in a different world? You know, had I been covering Mamdani from some place like a foreign planet or something? The thing was, like, it kind of reminds me, I've covered a lot of elections, and it reminds me a little bit of when Obama in 2008,
yes, it does have that energy
where people were just genuinely excited about their vote. And I think one of the things that the mainstream media gets wrong now, like, let's take when Donald Trump wins, or Donald Trump, gets a certain cross-section of rural voters, the mainstream media takes the concerns of those voters as like sacrosanct, as like kind of sacred, as kind of like we have to explore it, and always legitimate. But they did not, because of the attachment of the word socialism to this, and to his policies were progressive and generously progressive, the mainstream media dismissed it completely, as if there's no genuine concerns here.
Mamdani, because I feel like we just need someone new and fresh for the city. He's kind of like the everyday average person of people who get up and go to work. He lives in low income. He's like, I feel to me like he wants certain things to like help the people better, and we just need a fresh face. Cuomo's been here, done that, really didn't do much. So, just a fresh face. So that's why that candidate.
I spoke to a teacher, a retired teacher, who her rent is $5,000 a month. You could have knocked me over with a feather. It's incredible. I mean, affordable housing is such an issue here. And I think the New Yorkers here, they just want to change, and they're willing to gamble on that change. What kind of change do you think he would bring?
I think he will connect more with the young people or the younger voter, if you will, simply by how he uses social media to engage. He's like out in the streets with people. I think that type of energy being brought to the city, whether good or bad, I think is good. I think it's a good thing.
You know, what you give, you get back. And I think that's it's also one of the things that makes New Yorkers wonderful. They really do care about one another. And I'm hoping that the new mayor will, as he has said he would, take that as a given and make sure that everybody has all the advantages that they should have.
May I ask what candidate you think best represents that?
Mamdani.
Well, one thing is for certain. Voters here in New York said one thing loud and clear. They wanted change. They wanted out with the old guard and in with the new. So we're going to be excited to see what Mayor Mamdani does next. And I have a feeling the rest of the country is going to be watching. This is Tara Graham and Stephen Janis reporting for you.